Hello.
Hello, is this John?
Speaking.
Hello, John. This is Matt Mangus calling from 94.5 The Arrow in Fort Myers, Florida.
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
I'm well. Do you have a couple of minutes for us today?
Sure.
Fantastic.
Do.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. Well, John, you're coming to town, well, close to town anyway, up the road in Clearwater, Ruth Eckerd Hall on February the 15th, opening up for the Alan Parsons Live Project. First question that came to my mind, did you guys, back in the Yes days, ever talk about maybe collaborating with Alan Parsons?
Oh, yeah. You know, Alan was very, very well known in London, very connected on so many levels. So I bumped into him. He's very tall.
We spoke a couple of years ago when your album Survival and Other Stories came out. That record was so optimistic, came after you had a terrible health scare. So let me begin by asking you, how you feeling these days?
Very, very good. You know, all is well, and just getting on with a lot of music and looking at the new year and saying, okay, what I got to do this year? Come on.
Always have a lot on your plate, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's an adventure. I went to see this show in our town, which is San Luis Obispo. It's about 7 miles away. I went to see orchestra perform Rachmaninoff's Third, and I'm studying it. And it's an amazing piece of music. It started me thinking about creating on a different level sort of thing. So I'm always thinking about stuff.
Well, tell us a little bit about what your solo show is all about. It's pretty much just you out there playing the troubadour, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll be performing with the orchestra. You know, they've got the orchestra for the show that night, and I just said, well, if I could sing with the orchestra, it'd be kind of cool. So I have these scores that I did, and so I'll be putting on a 50-minute orchestral event with. It'll be fun, and some singers are going to come and help sing all the songs with me.
That's incredible. I had no idea you were performing with the orchestra as well. That's going to be very, very special. I'm looking forward to it. Well, you're out there playing all over the world. You're doing full shows, doing a lot of singing. And, of course, your old band Yes is out there playing all over the world and apparently working on a new record. And, of course, the question remains, and you're probably tired of talking about this, but Yes fans still want to know, why aren't you, Chris, Steve, Alan, and Rick, for that matter, playing together as Yes these days? Anything changing?
Well, you know, I think times change and lives move on. You know, people have a strong feeling about what they want to do. As you know, I got very sick, and Chris and Steve and Alan just wanted to go on the road, and I understand that. You know, they went on the road, and they're still doing it. It's one of those things that I did say after I got better, you know, I'd love to, you know, get back together and do some work with Rick, and it just didn't seem to want to do that kind of, you know, I'm a sort of taskmaster. I don't sit around. Sorry. I had kind of musical visions that I wanted to do, and I'm going to fulfill them this year. I'm putting a band together for this year, actually. So, you know, times change. All the Yes fans, I really feel sad for them having not the chance to see the band, but maybe next year we'll get into the Hall of Fame, and you never know, we might just go on tour together. Life is like that. You can't really, you know, you can't really say no and never again. You know, just that's what it is, you know.
Well, you've piqued my interest talking about going out on the road with a band. Do you have any idea who you'll be performing with? Is this just in the planning stages, or do you have any...
Yeah, it's in the planning. We've just been in touch with 2 or 3 people, and I'm expecting a phone call 12 o'clock today from somebody just to confirm that they want to do it. But you don't know until they say, yeah. It's just a question of we have a 2-month window in the summer. Could we get together? I have this idea of what we could do. I've been doing some sort of demos of what a band could be doing these days. You know, I've never stopped musically. I just have been out there doing solo work because that's what felt comfortable. Just me, my wife Jane, and a couple of guitars traveling the world. It's not a bad thing, you know?
Absolutely. Well, you've always been a musician who's embraced the technology, and, of course, the Internet now allows you to collaborate with musicians from all over the world. Is that something that you continue to do?
Totally. And I just did a song this morning from a friend that lives in Italy. He's a very good composer, and we're on our 4th song together over I think it's taken us. It sends me a piece of music every 2 months. It's all full orchestra and all that kind of thing, and he's brilliant. So I'm working on that, and then I met some guy in Chicago early last year, and he's really on a sort of musical level, just as a one-man artist. He can play bass, guitar, keyboards, like incredible. And we're working on a piece. So it's an interesting time, that being able to make music with people you actually haven't met is just an amazing feeling that music gods are with us all around the world,
I know you had talked a couple of years ago about doing something with Rick Wakeman and Trevor Rabin. I know both of those guys are tremendously busy, as are you. Is there anything to that?
Well, I toured with Rick just the other year. We did a tour, sort of, I think it was East Coast, and we had an album called The Living Tree.
Right.
And a live album of the show, because it was a funny show, a great show to perform with Rick, just me and him. And I've been in touch with Trevor all the time because we're friends, and his son has a great band actually called Group Love. And so I'm in touch with them on different levels. So Trevor sent me some music earlier, just before Christmas. So we're just, jiving around with ideas. This band idea that I've got going, he'd be perfect for. But it's finding time. If he has a week, he could come and perform with us. We'll see what happens.
Well, he's busy with Hollywood and many, many other projects as well.
Yeah, he does. I've been and watched him work. It's ridiculous watching him work with a full orchestra, and then it goes into the production and putting a movie together. I spent a whole week with him on that. It was like, what a world. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this last time we spoke, and we just didn't have enough time. And being an old Yes fan like I am, there have been Yes albums, of course, that have been mega successful sales-wise. Others, of course, less so. I've always wanted to ask you, out of the less successful Yes albums, which are particular favorites of yours?
That's funny. I was just thinking about it earlier. Magnification was such a good album to make. It's one of those things, when you make music, you don't think about it in terms of sales. You think about how good it sounds. And we put that album together. I felt so proud of it. And then within a month, the record company went bankrupt. The management messed it up, and nothing happened. It was like, wait a minute, we just spent 3 months making this beautiful work. And the other album that I remember was Talk. It was an album that I wrote a lot with Trevor. I actually stayed at his house and helped put that together with him for about 3 or 4 weeks, and that was a really good album too. And it just didn't have the hit record to make it into a big selling album, because record companies became very corporate in the 90s, and obviously now in the 21st century, they became so corporate they lost everything.
Well, Talk is a great album. I would say out of all the records you did with Trevor, that's my particular favorite. And the tour was amazing. I remember seeing it at Jones Beach and just being mind-boggled. It was absolutely fantastic.
Special, yeah. I'm thinking of doing one of the songs from that album on this tour that I'm doing.
Which one?
It's the last time telling myself everything.
Endless Dream.
Endless Dream, yeah.
I had to remind you what the title was.
Yeah, because I only know the song.
Oh, that's a great record. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you February 15th at Ruth Eckerd Hall. John Anderson, the voice of Yes for so many years. I read recently someone said that Yes isn't a band, it's a place. And you're so much a part of creating that place in a live setting. When I go to a show and I hear High Vibration go on, or Soon, Oh Soon the Light, or I Get Up, I Get Down, I want to hear it sung by John Anderson, not some copy band singer.
I was just in Iceland a couple of months ago, and we performed Awaken with a small orchestra and this band, which was a fabulous band. And it was they were celebrating 30 years together, and they invited me to go and sing some Yes songs and Awaken. They wanted to perform it. I said, okay, let's try it. It was just unbelievable.
I have memories from my teenage years of seeing you perform Awaken at Madison Square Garden and places like that. I specifically remember the Going for the One tour when Rick came back out on stage at Madison Square Garden after not being in the band for a couple of years, and the fans literally shook the rafters, and your performances were just so passionate and so incredible.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to seeing you February 15th at Ruth Eckerd Hall with the Alan Parsons Live Project. John Anderson performing with a symphony orchestra. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, John, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.